Rahubat. Once again, we're back live. OSM Vision, because our souls matter. Yeah, just let more people join and we get the show on the road. Freedom for the master, master teacher. W3 Kush, Hell Donny, Rahubat. Brusca Noise, Rahubat. Check Chaser, Rahubat. Gil Martin, Rahubat. Camo Jello, if I'm pronouncing it right, Rahubat. Let's have a good stream. Yes, let's do. It's all about all of us. Your energy helps us as well, you know. So yeah, let's have a good stream tonight. Rahubat, Check Chaser. Coco Brown, 555 in the house. Rahubat, greetings. Tuambo Terry, Rahubat. Moisar. I'm in the Sudan, Rahubat. Si Matumona. Please forgive me if I'm not getting your names pronounced properly, but Rahubat. Hakeem Shahada, Rahubat. Mark Dayon Cooper, Rahubat. Rahubat, everyone. Remember, the live number is UK area code +44, then followed by 753 9963 882. You can call live and ask your questions, okay? Yeah, I feel you, Brusca. We're going to get straight into your questions. Ray, Rahubat. That's to your question. We're going to get into that. Gail Martin, Rahubat. Anton Moore, Rahubat. KK, Saint Rahubat. Let us know where you're chiming from. Yeah, we need to know where in the world you are, where you're calling from, where you're chiming in from, where you're asking questions from, and where in the city as well that you're in, all right? Bring him home now. Yeah, that's a signature song. It's called Freedom Master Teacher by Love and Unity. You can check that out on YouTube. Just waiting for more people to join. Solar Ray Turns, Rahubat. Philmon, Rahubat. Streamlabs. Okay, that's not. Yeah, the energy is nice out here today because the sun is out, the rays are out. It's still a bit cold in the UK, but the sun's definitely out. It's looking bright. And we're just looking forward to the sun, the summer, you know, because we're sun people. Hey, London, UK in the house, North Carolina, Harrisburg, Georgia in the house. Who else is there? We have to really thank you guys, you know, because without you, we couldn't do this. So, you know, with you guys coming on board every week, so we can continue with, you know, making the Master Partner Babyanun's words known to the world. And yeah, it's such a pleasure to always be able to come here and speak Wu-Sabat, you know, share Wu-Sabat. And Brusca, you started off with I like your comment where you're saying, Rahubat brothers, found myself in a very emotional state recently regarding the master teacher's incarceration. The truth is we are scared to get together and free him. Scared of what people think. And that's the truth. It's like, what are we really scared of? And that's when we say to people that this is our test. This is the test for humanity to see whether or not we have the compassion, the ashuk, which is divine love, to see injustice or unfairness being done in the world to really anyone, and we are able to come together and make sure that we, take care of it. And I also see somebody else, I'll probably get to that, was saying, Ray was saying, Rahul, how can we free Anun? We got a call, yeah? Let me take the call because, it's always a pleasure. Greetings, Terry, how you doing? Rahul Bat. Where are you again? And what's your question?
I'm calling from Zambia.
Zambia, that's it. I can never remember, but Rahul Bat.
Yes, again. So I was reading this scroll.
Yeah.
I'm doing my best.
That's the best.
I think we looked at this scroll in one of the classes. I think it should be 2 weeks ago or so.
Mm-hmm. What scroll?
The scroll on the sacred wisdom of the Grand Hierophant.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Look at that. It just happens to be right next to me.
So there's
go on.
Yes. So there's this chapter. It should be I don't know, page 23, if I'm not mistaken.
Have you got it in front of you?
Where they are. Actually, it's in my phone, the one I'm using.
Okay. Right. Let me see. Page 22. Go ahead.
Where it says on the 4 winds. So it talks about these 4 beings who are known to be the Grand Masters. So the first being is it Kum? There's Anubu.
Yeah, Kunum, Anubu, Honsu,
and
Tehuti. Yes.
Yes. And then when you read down there, now it just gives a brief description. And there are some, I don't know if there are prayers or chants which are written just under there.
Mm-hmm.
On each of those beings, yes. So my question was, can we still use those same chants or prayers even today?
I'm just trying to follow to see the chant. I can see who is the Natir Kanum. Again, remember that the best thing is to be up to date as much as possible, because a lot of this information was, pre the master's incarceration. So the language is different. Language has changed. It's been updated. So it's best to kind of use the latest tones and language. But of course, one of the most important things is whenever you're saying a prayer or anything, a lot of the times it's to do with your intentions as well. So it's like, for example, most of us are still learning the language, and if you're sincere and you just say the best you can, you don't have to get the pronunciation 100%. And so the master is like, use what you know and just get speaking and using it, as opposed to worrying about how you sound or if you're mispronouncing the words, etc. But yeah, these the language, as I said, is now updated, so it'd be best to use the latest language, because the tones and vibrations are different. You see, so for example, where you're saying nook, you're saying nook, which was I before, now it's nakuk. You see, so it's just slightly different. But yeah, we would encourage you to use.
So maybe I don't know if there's maybe an updated version of the same scroll which you can recommend. Then I can take a look.
No, it's not like there's. Of course, there's so many scrolls that the masters put out until this say was updated with the new language, etc. Which is not at the moment. So You have to just use, this is good to learn and study because the date is still apply. Like in the chants that we do today, you still have the beings like Kanum and you know, they all mentioned as well. So what I'm saying is that yeah, just do the ones that we have at the moment, just so that you're using the most latest tones.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, thanks so much.
Okay, and takatirafu. That means you're welcome. We have to try and use the language as much as possible. It doesn't matter how small it is. Every word that you already know that you use in English daily, try and replace it. You know, like things like greetings, how are you, welcome, you're welcome, bye. You know, these are basic conversational words that you use every day, so you should try to yeah, replace them. But yeah, going back to the question of yeah, all right, let's take a call. Callers always get preference, so
Hello.
yeah, Rahubat. Hell is low.
Rahubat,
Hell is a
Rahubat.
low vibration, so we say
Thank you.
Rahubat.
Thank you. That's why I need you a lot, guys. That's why I need you a lot. There's a lot I need to sort and put in place, really. And that's why I'm calling.
No problem.
Yeah. Thank you.
What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Martin, London.
Oh, great. What's your question, Martin?
Yes. The question I have is because I've been into the shop, yeah? Mm-hmm. I've met Second, and I had a discussion with Second, and he showed me first books to read. So the question that I have, I'm really, really kind of in tune with Wu-Sabat and with the teachings and everything. But after I read the 24 Elders and the spiritual journey, I became so a little bit disturbed, especially when I started to read about the master teacher and do actually a thorough investigation and go deep into it. I was really actually disturbed. So what I'm trying to say is that what I'm trying to get into is trying to get into the way of Wu-Sabat, live Wu-Sabat. Yeah. This is what I'm trying to do, to try and get into it, because when I read, and it's because everything that I've seen or thought of, it just flashed in front. And I had to start to look at myself, and I realized that I need to do a lot of work. So, and that's the question that I was saying that. So when you are in this state and you want to take the next step, and how do you do that?
Well, you've already come to the community. The first thing is to start to be amongst family, because it's better for us to work together. Many people have already walked the journey you and I are embarking on, so it's good to share and be amongst like-minded people. We do have
where I want to go.
Yeah, we do have a process where you go through the onboarding. Are you in the Telegram group?
Yes, I am in the Telegram group.
Okay, yeah, because there's a form on our website which you have to complete.
So this is the thing. Sorry to jump in.
No, it's fine. Go ahead.
Because this is I've done that. So this is the reason. So you did right to talk to me first before you passed me to Second, because I've wasted his time in the discussion.
Do you know you're speaking to Second, by the way?
Second? Oh my God.
I heard you the first time and I thought, let me wait till. Yeah, you're actually speaking
God,
to
really?
me. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, and this is something that and it's like the way how you talk, yeah. Even to anybody, how you present yourself. Me from the first time, that's what took me away.
Right.
And so for all this time, even when I come, I came to see in the shop that day, and I was sweating, shaking, and everything, talking nonstop.
I remember you now. I remember you now.
Yeah. So the books you gave.
Yeah. Sorry. Go on. No, you go.
The books that you gave me and the tablets for Transcending and it really worked so well. I felt really good and different. So this is what I'm saying, because for me, it's the most that I feel like I don't want to say it like it's a judge or but I feel like if I want to really, really push myself to the next level, I need to be close.
We're getting a lot of people giving us that feedback, which is fantastic, because this is what the master teacher upon the Babylonian wants to hear.
He's amazing.
Yeah, he wants
He's
to see.
he's
He wants
amazing.
to see that, you know, his work is not in vain, and that we are responding to it, and we're coming together, and we're going to, you know, like you say, free him, and you know, we're going to help heal the world, because that's what we're doing. It's about healing each other.
Yes.
And
The
then
healing and waking up people to understand.
Absolutely.
So for me, this is what I'm trying. Sorry, I'm not jumping into everything to you, but this is what I've always wanted in my life, to help people.
That's it.
To the truth.
And
to the truth.
That's it. That's what we're living in now, where everybody wants the truth, because people have been lied to for so long.
A lot of time. And for me, when I sit down, because like I said, I really had to, because I became so emotionally about the situation, because there was another video you posted, you explaining about the situation that they're trying to get information from. You know, from that moment, that's when I started like to feel like, even when I'm in my room, I feel his pain. And it came to the point that I'm like, why does a person like him has to go through all that? And all his work? And if you look at his work and it just, because this is the moment I started to look at to see myself naked, because you teach us that you taught us that in the etheric world, there is no physical body. You can open your mouth, everything is your mind.
That's
so
right.
Now you have to start to look at your mind. How do you think? And when I looked at my mind, I was not happy, you know. So and
it's something we all have to do. Instead of pointing the fingers at other people, you know, we have to like heal ourselves, clean ourselves inside out first. Because
so this is exactly the direction that I want to learn and understand.
Right.
The habits, the ways of what you do, or how can you channel your thoughts to better thoughts, how can you raise them,
right.
And to the point. So because there is a lot of distractions, and from where we are, because there was a point when I would have like, okay, what is life? What's there left? Because I don't believe everything. This is what I see myself. This is what I dream. What I see, for me, is not real. So I'm like, okay. So now we get to the point of, okay, the master teacher found me. And
you know, because we got other people trying to get through as well. So, unfortunately, I'm gonna have to cut it, but it's fine. I just want to say one or two things, because we are getting a lot of people now just coming to that realization that, you know,
but remember,
I'm just ready
here in straight on. So if you've got time, I can pop down there and you have a chat. But that's why I don't want to take your time, man.
No, so fine. You're welcome to come to the store anytime. And you've actually just you triggered me to read something. I'm going to read that actually covers.
And the one last thing, the last thing before you go, because I'm gonna annoy you a lot. The last thing.
No, it's fine.
I'm gonna annoy you a lot with guidance. Because you told us we don't need to be spoon fed, but you can direct us. Yeah,
that's right.
So I've been reading. There's a other channel that called NPW, Holy Tablets. But you said they expired. But that's why I said I want to come to you. You tell me, okay, you read this. These are the books that will direct you. Read this, and then I'll get those books, and then you tell me work on that. Then I'll
again, let's just kind of make this very clear to people. We're not saying you cannot read any of the
you
books
explain.
from before.
I follow. I listen. I hear.
The Holy Tablets has a lot of information, but we're saying focus on the Patarak, Master Secrets, actual facts, because these are the hereafter doctrine. So that's where we would say focus on, but read everything, read around that as well. Anything the Master has ever put out, because everything he put out was for a reason. So
absolutely,
and everybody will get something different.
He's raised some conscience. Really, he really raised. I do believe I'm not the only one. There's a lot of people. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right.
Cheers.
Okay, so that ties in, and I'm gonna go back to the first question, which is really about freeing the Master, and that emotional. Because if you have compassion, if you have love, a shuk, you have a soul, just the injustice and the suffering that the Master has had to go through for the last 20-something plus years is something that anyone with that type of compassion, love, empathy should really feel. So it says here, I, as a Ghanaian, came for my own people, the blacks all over the world, the West, and my own people. If you see the similarities to this, where people have been sent, like whether it was Jesus or, Joseph Smith, who received, you know, the book for the Mormons and so on, right? From the being known as Moroni. I'm just showing you how every race has had a warner or somebody sent to them, and most of the time they don't receive that person. So as you read in, say, John 1 verse 11, it says, "Yet my own people receive me not. Yet many of them that do receive wu-nuwapu, Wu-Sabat, will receive eternal life and be transformed back into supreme beings and prepared for that journey home to Orion and Sirius. Let the earth sing, for the Son of Righteousness has arrived with the healings in his wings. No longer should you fear," because it relates to that fear question that I was talking about. I'll go back to that. "No longer should you fear. The true black Messiah is here. We are Africans, proud to be. Live and die as Africans. All I am saying is it is time to return to who and what we really are as a people, our own stuff, and learn to live for and by each other." You know, and, you know, we have to represent our culture. So it says for the women that have their nose hole, they should still wear their nose ring. And, you know, you can find that in Genesis 24:22 as well. Hebrew Strong's number 5141, which talks about the nose ring. But only if you wish to. It's not enforced or like forced on you. All right, it says, "I know we people, we always talk about being a nation, a tribe, you know, a family, and just there are people who just read the books, just read the scrolls. People can be what they will, yet we are familiars," meaning we're family. Family is those close to me and the ones that follow the Lamb wherever he goes. And you see, they forgot the book. I've got it here. The book, are they black devils? Yes, they are. And now you will see them stick up their heads. The ones that will complain and say like, "Why this? Why that? I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that." Or "I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do that." Let them go. Those who stay will be those who pray we will move on with our lives in peace. We don't hate the Europeans. We don't hate the European race. No, we see the hate. We see they hate us for no reason, so we get out of the way. And we just deal with peace, and we just deal with letting them do what they do and self-destruct. As you see now, there is a lot of wars and fighting and, you know, things all around the world going on. We just got to move away from haters and live our lives in peace. It will be nice to rebuild Tamaray, you know, because, you know, we had the land, 476 acres plus of land, known as Egypt of the West. He said, "I would love to, yet not with haters around us." Hanan means jealousy. That is what they really feel about us, or the black race. Now, first you must bring me home. We have to bring him home. This has to end now. We have to end this now. All who claim they got this or got that must all work as one now before it's too late. So it's all about love and unity. Now, it was pointed out that the world is receiving our doctrine. So we're getting the feedback. Many people are receiving Wu-Sabat. Many people all over the world, different races, you know, that is opening their eyes to all the work that the Master has done for years, letting him know it was not in vain. You just heard a caller who's, you know, bearing witness to that. We are breaking the spell. Those who are reading Wu-Sabat, wu-nuwapu, that are 144,000 pure souls, not to be confused by the fakers on pure spirits, selfish ones who only pretend and try and make a living. You see a lot of people, you know, utilizing our teachings, our books, and having groups, you know, and just using it to benefit themselves with, you know, making money and stuff. People are, you know, having all types of websites and selling and doing things that it's infringing the copyright and the intellectual property of the master teacher. This is something that many tried to do many years ago, as even as Ansars. So now, those who feel they're free, look at them. It's clear. All they do is eat, eat, eat. You know, you hear the term useless eaters. So sad. Their bodies will betray them. I used to always say, excuse me, to you all, the first and most important thing you must study is your own body, inside and out, and outside inward. So again, you hear the brother was saying he got some herbs that help him to clean out himself. We have these natural herbs. In order to reactivate your ba'ath, resurrect the barothry gland of the submental to regrow in the hippocampus area of the brain, and the third eye will be opened. Between the two thalamus sits the pineal gland and build the thymosin. Well, you know about the barothry gland, and that Europeans do not have it, don't have. Barothry, you hear the word ba'a, as we say, which means soul. That's the soul gland. There's so much that most don't know, and so many think they know. What fools these mortals be. I know over the years, I did my best, yet mortals all want you to do, and I did my best, yet mortals all want to do is, they want you to just follow religions, religious figures from their made up Bible and Qurans. They want to change alchemy into religious miracles, into spookism. Well, our time on this planet is almost over. And now that we are past the 400 years, that's from the 1600, which you know about the two slave kidnappings, the last one being the 1600s, which was for 400 years up until the year 2000 AD. And that was 6,000 years where we say that the Adamites, 6,000 years to rule, of the cursed seed, all we see is the mark of the beast, which you can find in Hebrew Strong's number 2416. Chai, which means life, is taken hold of a lot of the black Americans. They offer their souls to the man of sin, live in their image and light them. Those to be saved will come from outside of America. So going back to the question of what we must do, we must unite. We must come together, put the doctrine into practice and live it. Be fearless of being who and what you are. You cannot be anything but who you are anyway. And if one man can do so much and have so much influence and power by waking people up to the truth, imagine what we can do collectively, what everyone can do who is about living truth. You know, so yeah, it all starts with you. You are the God that you're looking for. All right, let's keep going with the questions. So yeah, this is a very important time in our lives, in humanity's lives, to see if we can actually, you know, move from these low vibrations that a lot of people are under to raise our consciousness, raise our vibration, and heal the world. Okay, is Homo erectus also known as the three root races, Homo habilis, Cro-Magnon, and Denisovan? Also, did the other root races come from Homo habilis? Right, you know, when we say you had genus Homo, which became Homo erectus, you can hear the word erect. The Homo erectus is just saying when you were standing up and erect and walking. But you've kind of mixed something up. So when we're saying the root races, according to the latest discoveries and information from anthropologists, like you said, Homo habilis and Homo naledi, that's the root race of the Africans, okay? And then from them, all others came from. And the second root race where you mentioned, you said Cro-Magnon, but it would be the Homo florensis and the Denisovan. That would be the one that's describing all of the Asian stock. And then lastly, where you say Cro-Magnon and the Neanderthal, that's dealing with what you'd call the Caucasian. So yeah, you're right. All the other races come from Homo habilis, which is, as you say, you know, the Homo naledi and Homo habilis is dealing with the African, all right? How can we free Yanun? With many, many things. One, as he says, clean yourself inside out, study the scrolls, apply the knowledge, come together in communities, work together with those who are working on the various aspects of his legal case, helping out to do many things that will get the information to the world, teach, propagate, represent Wu-Sabat, and be guided by those who are already doing what we're saying to newcomers to do. All right? Remember, join the official Telegram group. Right? It's posted in the comments. Just click the link, download the app, and you're in. All right, let's keep going. Solar ray turns. Rahubat Zamas, saving souls in black and gold. For sure. Free the master teacher. Yep, you said it right. Let's do this. Help us build. Yeah, we're trying to make sure that we can keep putting out the content that you guys want to see. Let us know what you want to see, what you want us to teach on, and help us. We're working on getting this studio together so we can stream even more, constant giving you information. Remember that the master teacher's got 76 trillion years of knowledge to share with us. So, you know, there's a lot more to go that, you know, you guys are not even, we're not scratching the surface. Okay, Chaser, he says, does our zodiac sign have anything to do with the kind of being we are? Firstly, you have to remember that the word zodiac really means animal or zoo. That's where they get the word zoo from, because it's dealing with the animal nature. So when you're saying zodiac, the zodiac signs of today were actually taken from our ancient, the Dendera. It's called a Dendera, which was, you know, in Hathor's temple. And this was dealing with, if you look at the Dendera map, it has, in the center, it has a hippo. And that's because that was the first mammal that came onto land and goes back into the water, lives in both water and land. And you see all the other animals and beings around it, which basically relates to the different natures of the different types of animal nature that people may relate to. So the zodiac actually is trying to copy that, but remember that you are not just made up of yourself. So you have like your ancestors who, say, for example, your mother's sign and your father's sign is going to be a part of your nature. And so you can't just look at when you were born, because our elders, they actually studied, you know, the stars and studied based on being ontologists. They were able to monitor many cycles and know like how to predict and know when was the right time or the right situation for two people to come together, because it was all about making sure that the two people that came together were actually what we refer to as soulmates, because soulmates is two spirits coming together to become one soul. And that soul will then give birth, because they're aligned, will give birth to a supreme being. Soulmates are not something that you choose. It's something that happens naturally because they are drawn together naturally, you know. So that's where, when people look at, you know, today they just look at, they call it horoscopes, and they basically try to say, you know, these two, like if you're Sagittarius or if you're Capricorn or if you're this, you're gonna match and go together, but it doesn't work that way. You know, this is why it's very important, because especially for females, because when you're taking in, when you exchange bodily fluids with a man, that becomes a part of your nature, and it stays with you for many years, and it affects your DNA, and it affects your mentality, your mind. So it's not simple as, oh, you read the newspaper and it says, oh, this sign and that sign are compatible. It's not really the case, you know. So people have to study and make sure that they're choosing mates, because if it doesn't come by way of natural spirits becoming one soul, that will end up being a division, or you will go apart, and the children will go apart. Everything will not stick together because it wasn't choosing of soulmates. I hope I'm making sense. Rahubat, teacher and family, we meet again thanks to Partner Babyanun. That's NTU. Ray 9 Ether. Okay, cool. Yeah, Rahubat Zamal, if you're Zamal, I can't tell. Jersey in the house, Atlanta in the house, Rahubat. Thank you, brother, for your hard work. Doesn't go unnoticed. Thanks for caring about our souls before we knew to care. You know what? The master teacher, Partner Babyanun, he's the example. He's the example. Like, you know, sometimes if you have to follow somebody, follow the best example you can find. And all of this is because of him. His nature, his kindness, his love, his undeterring work, his sacrifices, you know, it's all part of it. So we all have to be like that. That's the example. Despite the noise, and yeah, that's what I wanted to say based on the original first question. Like, you have to remember, and again, this is relating to the brother that was saying he got emotional thinking about the master teacher situation. What I would say is that they've basically thrown everything at him. You know, just tainting his character assassination, accusations, false allegations, name it. They've done it. And unfortunately, it hasn't worked for them. Well, it's fortunate for us because there's nothing more. What more can they really do? Because the whole point of it was to deter people from finding out about him, learning and seeing the works and reading the scrolls and awakening and putting it into action. And despite all of that negativity, despite all of that attack on an innocent man, we're still here, still going strong, and he's still with us. And we must do everything we can to get him walking amongst us again. When okay, we've got another question. Yeah, Rahubat Ubura got knocked offline. I'm back now. Okay, Anton, Rahubat. Bruce Scar Noise. Also, which dynasties or pharaohs in ancient Egypt were responsible for sacrificing for worship alongside slaughtering the people? According to the master teacher, we didn't used to do these things. Yeah, these were not the ancient Egyptians. These were invaders and people that came into Egypt and brought along their culture and their stuff, and then infiltrated and mixed in, and then people would say Egyptians, but like we say, like that, those were not our customs. Yeah, we're talking about the Hyksos or the Hyksos dynasty and people that came in, you know, the Sumerians, the Phoenicians, and those beings, and that's where it all ties into them bringing these Abrahamic cultures from really Zoroastrianism, because Abraham and his father, they were, they were following Zoroastrianism. That's where that kind of stemmed from, because they were fire worshippers as well. And they, you know what I mean? Today you get that through the monotheistic religions, where they still do these offerings and burnt offerings, burning fires and burning animals and, that kind of stuff. That's where that came from. So if you really want more information, this ancient, coming forth by day, which people refer to as the ancient Egyptian Book of the Dead, which is a misnomer. That's the one that goes into more details. Before, like, the immigration laws were opened up by people like Khufu. So when you're talking about the dynasties, that's really when Egypt was falling or going downhill, because of taking on these practices from foreigners. Greetings, Sakhen. Are the descendants of... Okay, I skipped a question. Crowd favorite media. When I sun gaze, I could look at the sun for minutes, no shades, no problem, no glasses. Yeah, your eyes are actually solar panels, and it's a matter of learning how to do it, and obviously not to the extreme, because you have like a lot of like the Hindus, they've started to take things to the extreme where they sun gaze till they go blind. Your eyes are actual solar panels, so you can absorb the sun, and you can do it. And at first, because most of us have been trained not to, they kind of like can't do it. They squint and they can't do it. But over time, if you train yourself, you'll be able to do it in a way where you receive the sun that will help you as well, because you're storing that solar energy. All right, we got a call. Hey,
Greetings, sir.
How are you? Greetings. How are you? What's your name? Where are you calling from? And what's your question, please?
I'm calling from South Africa.
Greetings.
My questions is based on self. Like, since I've been reading about self, it's like self is trying to discover itself, or it's expanding. That's my question. It's as self has made itself into different races, because it starts from one thing and then expanded itself. So what is the whole purpose of itself fighting itself? It's more like, that's my question.
So are you saying...
Why are we having races? Like, we're having these different races. We're having blacks, we're having Indians, and then we are not all on one thing. Like, the energy has separated. There's more evil than good in earth. So my question is, why is all this happening while self is discovering itself? Why not good happen while self is discovering itself? I don't know if my question...
Yeah, I'll get your question. I was just trying to make sure you're saying self, not south, yeah? Okay, yeah, I got you. Because, yeah, it's
the I itself, the force, the energy.
Yes, I got you. All right.
Yeah.
Let me answer that for you, okay?
Wow. Okay.
All right. So, yeah, that's the whole point of what we're doing now, because we're dealing with cycles, and that the last 6,000 years up until the year 2000, most people were dumbed down, and it was the religious world dominated by using the spell of 6 ether forces. And this is making you think to worship outside of self, just look outside to someone else, to some deity, they gave you names like Allah, like God, Jehovah, all these names which were based on characters in the book. That book was written by somebody. So you took away looking into yourself and realizing that the power is within you. And this is what caused separations in things like religions, because people were made to feel that they're better than everyone else. Because if you belong to a particular religion and you believe a particular book, and the book says you're the best, this is what you should do, and everyone else is going to hell if they don't follow what you do, then you felt like you were better than someone else, and it created competitions. So the racism and the racist games came in afterwards, because even the thing like when people say the white race, that didn't exist up until like 1800s. That term didn't even exist. And the same that each major religion, from the monotheistic religions of Abraham, they then started to divide into so many different denominations, to the point where they all claim to be right and they all claim to follow one person who is supposed to be God, or the Son of God, or God himself, and following Jesus, but yet they all fight amongst each other. So we've come to a time where that 6,000 years has expired as of the year 2000 AD. And this is where a new paradigm has come in, the time we call the Aquarius age, the age of Aquarius, or the sun cycle, and different energies now coming to the planet, where he's actually started off by the master teacher coming and releasing the truth. And he started to do this officially by way of the predictions, or people say prophecies, in 1970 when the seventh seal was broken. That meant that now the world will be open to the truth, and the best way to live is by truth. They teach you in religion that the truth, when it comes, that all false things will perish. And you've been seeing that happening, where most people are now awake. They're opening up their third eye. They're more conscious. They're more about peace, about love and unity. So the question you're asking is that, one, by the way of natural ether energy, the cycle had to wait till this time period. And of course, 6,000 years is a long time to be under the spell. But now people are waking up. So that's what's happening. So now you have to get in tune with yourself. And when you do that, work on yourself, then you become the example. And then everyone who is doing that will naturally gravitate together, because when you're learning and putting the truth into practice by way of the information, which comes from outside in, from affirmation, you're now able to have a different mindset. You start to see things differently. You start to see right from wrong. This is what happened in the so-called biblical story, where they were told not to eat of the tree of knowledge, you know, because they were told, if you eat of it, you will die. That was to make you afraid. And religions teach you that if you question God, or if you find out the truth and ask questions that they see to be uncomfortable, or they don't have the answers, they say you're blaspheming, or you're questioning God, and you're going to go to hell and you're going to die, and put the fear of dying into you, because you think it's the end of you. But energy cannot be destroyed. And so being afraid to go to hell or to burn in a fire is one of the ways that religion was used to make people not question or get the answers they need. But you can think it. And the question should be that, who gives you your intellect? Your intellect is your intelligence. So you cannot think of a question if they say that God knows everything, that he's not listening to or can hear everything and he knows what you're doing, right? They even lie and tell you that, you know, Father Christmas knows your every thought, or he knows the children's thoughts. But my point is, if God can give you the intelligence to ask the question, how can he then be afraid of you asking him that same question? It doesn't make sense. So with your mind, you're able to now see through the lies, and your mind was controlled by these practices and these false teachings. Whereas with the master teacher coming and teaching the truth, you started to use your mind, and now most people's minds are expounding. Because with religion, they keep you within the confines of a book. You have to believe, if you're Christian, you've got to believe in the Bible. You can't read the Quran and follow the Muslims. The Muslims say the same thing. Those who read the Talmud, they say the same thing. Those who read Jehovah's Witnesses, that, you know, everyone is divided. Whereas Wu-Sabat unites everyone on the truth. So if you're looking for the truth and want the truth, this is the place for you. So that's what happened. Okay, so we covered the sun gazing. But yeah, we say don't overdo it, because you can damage your eyes with long staring into the sun, but you can receive energy as well. And the more you know and practice how to do it, to soak yourself and receive that vitamin D, that helps you with your melanin. Remember, it says in that reading, the Son of Righteousness. Read Malachi chapter 4. Read the whole of Malachi, but read chapter 4. Most people don't know who wrote the book of Malachi. Coincidentally, the being that's here, bringing in the Son of Righteousness, being the Son of Righteousness and bringing in the Sun cycle is Dr. Malachi Z.K. York, right? That's who wrote the books of Malachi. All right, so yeah, you can utilize that sun. It's very good. It heals you and charges you up. That's why everyone's a sun, I wouldn't say worshipper, but like when it's summertime, everyone's happy. You know, you have all these events that people go to. You know, without the sun position, you know, the Muslims will know what time or day it is to pray. So everyone loves the sun. Yeah, so the Son of Righteousness is here and with healing in his wings. Okay, let's keep going. Yeah, help us build that Wu-Sabat film studio so we can stream to you 24 hours, 7 days a week, 365 days of the year. Malawi in the house, Alfred Banda, Rahubat. Yeah, Marek, yeah, Freedom Master Teacher, Rahubat. Okay, check Chaser. Last week you told me who an ancient deity from Egypt created us. How can I learn more about this deity? And does this deity still care about us or reach out to us? Okay, I don't think, maybe you may have kind of mixed up some of the stuff we said. We're saying that the stories that have evolved into what you're calling the biblical stories today all come from ancient Egypt. So for example, the being that the brother was asking about from the sacred wisdom of Tahuti, known as Khanum, he is referred to as the fashioner. And this is where that story of that ends up in the Bible and in the Quran, where you're taking mud from the ground and forming a man. But it's not in the way that is spoken about. Yeah, your creator is, or your creators are your mum and your dad, or your mother and father, the mother being the one that creates you in her womb. However, when we want to say who was the first male or female, we have to go back to how these genes or these cells that grew came here, and they come from our ancestors, the Pantaru, who seeded the planet, and then those beings that evolved from the waters known as the Pataites, they came in onto land and then migrated from what we call Ganawa, which today people are referring to as Africa, into different directions, and then other beings came and mixed with them. So I think you may have kind of misunderstood what I was saying. It's not one being, and we don't have that concept of just one deity like God or Allah, someone in heaven that is just there looking after you. It's your ancestors that are also on these other realms that you can communicate with and reach out to, and they go all the way back to what we call, you know, the Pantaru. All right, but yeah, you can still, you know, reach out and be in tune with them, and by way of Wu-Sabat, you will get to learn how to do this. Greetings again, this is Marek Williams. Greetings again. I was wondering why, if the 6,000 years is up, then why doesn't it feel like it? Yeah, because you're not looking at things from a different standpoint, like from a global perspective. So that's number one. Number two is because of us. We're not doing the works of waking more people up. And so it will give the illusion, because remember that the media and all the outlets that give you the information, it's gonna, if it's not owned by you, it's gonna give you the viewpoint that they want to share. So it's all about us. It doesn't feel like that, but if you look around the world and look at the events and look at the things that are taking place, you can see that, like every other empire, you got a question? Every other empire that was great and was ruling and kind of like controlling people fell. And that's happening now with this one. So I guess it's down to us. It's not about, you know, just sitting on your laurels and thinking it's just going to get done, and it's not going to happen overnight. People wish it can just happen overnight, but nothing happens that way. It's a gradual process. Go ahead.
This question is from Dorinda Shelton.
Yeah.
Are the descendants of Ham 9 ether?
Yes, because the thing about the word Ham comes from the word Ham, which is, it means black, right? So the genetics would be 9 ether. In fact, anyone who's mixed with Nagaru or the Negroid race is going to be 9 ether in the sense of if they have those genetics. But however, you can lean to one side or the other. And so depending on how you lean, you can actually suppress your 9 ether side and lean more to the other side. So it's about your DNA, about your genetics, and how you reprogram or utilize the things that will help you grow more in that mindset of 9 mind, 9 ether. It's not just being 9 ether with having 9 ether hair or having melanin. It's about what you do with it. Because we mentioned already, there are people that are light or don't have as much melanin that may do more works or lean more towards being agreeable. So there are lots of mixtures today. So it's about your DNA, and it's about what you do with it and what you do with the knowledge that you have. All right? Yeah, I kind of saw that question actually. Can you explain more about witchcraft? Does witches actually come out of their body and go to a place called Coven to drink blood and eat flesh? There are all types of different witches on different levels. There are witches that are physical. There are witches that don't have a skin suit. There are witches, just like in every sense of the word, you'll have agreeable, disagreeable in everything, but you can have agreeable physical beings. You can have agreeable and disagreeable physical beings. You can have agreeable and disagreeable spiritual beings, agree and disagreeable extraterrestrials, wherever you go, there are agreeable and disagreeable. And it's about you fighting and dealing with suppressing or eradicating the disagreeable. But yeah, there are witches. There are witches in physical form that meet and drink blood and do all kinds of rituals. And there are those who subsist off the energy that you get from sacrifices or from blood sacrifices and things like that. So, and yeah, many witches meet and go to many places. You see beings that meet in the Bohemian Grove and carry out rituals, and in the churches, they symbolically drink the blood of Christ. That ties into, you know, being a vampire. Why would you eat the flesh of a human and drink its blood? Yeah, so there are people that are openly now serving all types of meats. This is why we don't encourage people to eat meats or red meats, because you don't know what meat you're eating these days. You know, so yeah, to answer your question, it's simply yes. Let's keep going. Okay, we covered that. Cover that. Botswana in the house. South Africa, great. Rahul Bat Brothers, what is the origin of Lemuria, and is that the same as Atlantis? Yes, it's related. We actually did a video on Atlantis, and there's an actual fact, a part of that called Atlantis that you should get hold of, that will give you more information. Right, let's get more people online. Let's get more people watching. Share the video. Like it, subscribe. You know, we get we get the algorithm to work hard so that we can spread Wu-Sabat. So give it a thumbs up, hit the bell so you can get notifications when we put out new content. Astro Ray, Astro, the question is, why did Baba build a statue of Christ on Tamaray? No, it wasn't the statue of Christ. It was called the living Messiah. It was a symbolic, it wasn't even, on Tamaray we had different deities of our ancestors, and that was symbolic of the living Messiah, the being that was here to sacrifice for us, still is doing that. Okay, so that was the living Messiah. I know the, let me see if I can even find it. So yeah, it wasn't Christ in the sense of what you're saying, because that, what people call Christ is a term that many races and cultures have over the years, over the many years. Like, you'll have people that have this Christ symbolic of the Christ consciousness, but the one that you're referring to is known as the living Messiah, which is not dealing with the Christ. What is your relationship with the all right, you see, again, Gary, this is from Gary, Mr. Congress 3, Rahobat, by the way. Gary, we went through the schools of religion already. We don't really deal with religion. We were walking backwards to our culture. So even when you're sick, but we did study Islam and we did study the Quran and learn everything to do with Islam. But we realize, and as we keep teaching, that religion is a weak foundation. Religion divides people, and it's in the Quran. It doesn't talk about the din of Islam. It's the din of Allah, right? If you read, it's not the din of Islam. It's the din of Allah, meaning that you're meant to really move to the words, the truth about Islam by way of the actual word, and not by what the hadiths or the people that didn't really study and know about it telling you to move over. When you see many people going into the din of Allah, and the people that are the aiders of Allah, the word Ansar Allah meant aiders of Allah, you see. So that was telling you that time will come where you will see these new people or these new beings known as the Ansar Allah. That was our community back then when we were studying and living the true Islam. So, but we've moved away from those religions because, as I said, we went back to our culture of Wu-Sabat. And when you're saying or the nation of Islam, we are not a nation of Islam. Islam is not a nation. You see, you cannot be a nation by way of a religion. Even when you look at the word nation, dealing with international legal terms or law, you can't be a nation of Islam. So basically, it's about coming over to Wu-Sabat, because Wu-Sabat predate religion and it predates Islam. Islam is not the answer to unite us as a people. Religion can't do that, because religion is divisive. So we're saying the brothers and sisters in the nation of Islam, they were given signs and told to look out for one that will come with the lamb, yeah, the letter lamb, and the new language and a new song and a new Arabic. This new Arabic is what you're calling Mishbatiya, our language today. And the master teacher is that teacher, that being that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was directing people to follow or listen to when he comes. And he came with the holy tablets, a scripture, a new scripture with the conclusion of all of religions which have expired. Because if you know about the Nation of Islam, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was saying the Quran was going to travel, yeah, around the planet 24,000 years. And that ended by way of the new 24,000 year cycle coming in when the Quran expired by way of the holy tablets that came in with the master teacher. Each chapter of the holy tablet starts off with Lo, which is the lamb, and you will see the picture when the master came, he was holding the scepter, right, which had the symbol of the lamb. Trying to see if I can find the picture, but yeah, so yeah, Islam, religion, is not the answer to unite people in this day and time. That's Wu-Sabat. All right, so let me keep going. Join the Telegram group if you haven't already done so that you can get more questions answered. We have many capable student teachers, right, that will answer your questions 24/7. All right, so I hope that's helped. Okay, let's see, what's the next question? Okay, Tanutamun Bakari Sara, if I'm pronouncing your name right. When our people let go of religions, we will be free in every country. 100%, that's what we're saying. It's not, yeah, just everybody just needs to let go of religion, because religion has done more damage and caused more wars, more bloodshed than anything else on the planet. That's a fact. Do your research. In search for truth. Rahubat, what does the star on flags represent, especially Zimbabwe? Thank you. Yeah, the stars on the flags represent countries that have been dominated or overtaken by the beast, Baphomet. You see the 5-pointed star that represents countries, and the 6-pointed star. But if you look at the 5-pointed star, that's representing that goat of Mendes known as Baphomet, which deals with the sons of Canaan, right? That's what the 5-star and the 6-star coming together represents, the 11 sons of Canaan. And this is what we're saying, that every country that was colonized or has been overtaken by the beast is stamped with that star, you know. So there's a lot more to that, but obviously given the time constraints, I hope that helped. Why self needs to separate self as different races? I think we covered that already. This is it. That's why we have the saying, the master's, one of the favorite sayings is, no one wins the race in racism. And the self, that's the real you, is a part of being connected to that force that people want to relate to and call God or something, right? So you've got to go inside, and that essence of you is something that we all can relate to or are united by. Hey, Rahubat, call out. What's your name? Where are you calling from? And what's your question, please?
Oh, yes. Hi, Rahubat Sakim, and Nefantir Antak to you. This is Kaiser Charles.
How you doing? Rahubat Zaman, Anuki Kawas, Wu Antak Zaman, Panin Zamut.
And then Zamut. Thank you. Thank you, Sakim. It's great to hear your voice.
No problem.
Sakim.
Likewise.
It's great to hear you, brother. Yeah. So, yeah, I wanted to let you know, I'm really happy. I attended Sunday's class, question and answer class, at the bookstore. Yeah, that was my first day. First time going.
Oh, you mean Saturday?
Yeah, no, it was Sunday, question and answer class.
Oh, okay. Right. I'm with you. Did you go to Brooklyn?
Yeah, that's the bookstore.
Oh, that's
in Brooklyn.
fantastic. That's good. That's good.
Yeah. You just talked to me. I'm really glad. You just talked to me. Say I could probably start recording the classes. So I feel honored that I got offered.
Excellent.
I'm honored.
That's so good. Yeah.
Yes. I had shouted you out as well. I said I learned from Sakim when I talked to you, and you know you are a great teacher. It's all thanks to Baba Yanun, and all thanks to you as a student teacher. You inspire us to grow and learn.
Yeah, so, everyone can do their bit, get involved. You know, a lot of people are afraid of the power they have. It's actually quite funny that people have this power within them, but they seem to not realize it yet, and we all have to, because each one teach one, each one reach one. Everyone's got something to do and give.
Yes,
I'm just
yes.
glad you're making that move.
Yeah, you're part of that. So that means continue teaching, you know, and you're getting a reach. It doesn't matter that you're in London. We're worldwide as
Absolutely.
Sabians.
That's right. That's why our website is UnitedSabiansWorldwide.com.
Yes, yeah. Yes, again.
Yeah, it's
I
really, it's
understand it
amazing
now.
to see and see the growth, you know. So I appreciate love you too. Go ahead, Zuma.
I appreciate love. I appreciate love. So I'm not really sure. Like, I just feel so happy and in such a loving mode. Like, I don't really know if I want to know anything, really. I kind of asked a lot of stuff
Yeah, no,
there.
it's all good, because
But,
I'm getting that
yeah.
a lot these days, and it's good because, you know, when your soul is satisfied, all you can do next is do the works, and you then become that beacon to help someone else, you know. The master once told us that if you look at the structure of a pyramid, at the top you have what, you know, people refer to as the capstone, and you have that eye at the top. He said that once you've reached that, what you would call the top, what happens next? You've got to move on to the higher realms, and then bring others up to for them to reach that. You know, you have to wear the mask of God, in other words, because once you get to that point where you're God, all that gods can do is make more gods. You see, so that's why it says God made man in his image. So you could make others in your image once you get to that point. So what you're seeing
Oh,
is is the master teacher making many gods on the planet in his image and likeness, and they also then got to do the same to others, because each one has to reach one and teach one, and then we continue to grow together. So yeah, it's good to hear, and he loves to hear. He wants to hear more comments of how, you know, Wu-Sabat is having an impact on people, you know, because that's what he came to do, to set the record straight and to wake people up and to make you feel that, you know, that freedom of not being bonded by the spell of religion and the 60th spell. So yeah,
yes.
if we reach one person, that's absolutely amazing. So Tawat.
Yes, you definitely definitely, Sakem. You definitely reached me, and I've seen a positive change in my life. You know, it's just the beginning. Like, yeah, I want a million, like you say, million and billions of gods and goddesses of the Nagaru in all races. All of us have to be. So thank you, Sakem. I'll definitely, it'll be fun. I'll definitely will love to help out, and then I'll start by. After the call, I'm gonna reach out, and I was told I'll do the recording on Sunday, so I'm really happy.
And
Still two questions though.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm so happy. What does the chem mean? And I also learned Haya. Okay, Haya is life. So can you give me a little bit more about? I wish I could make a song about Haya. I was really touched when I heard that word, and I not understood. Haya is life.
That's right. In fact, when I started today, I read a reading where I mentioned that word. Yeah, because it's a life force. That's what Sakem means as well. Because, like, when you start to break things down into their lowest components, you realize that there's an energy that is holding the atoms. And you know, when you even look at like an atom, you see like a proton and an electron. Obviously, the electron being the electricity, and in the nucleus is where this power that people call Sakem, and you know, they'd refer to it as chi as well. So yeah, that's that power that is at the center of everything, really. So I'm very honored to have received that name from the master teacher. So Tawat. Yeah. There are many Sakems as well. All right, Tua, let's keep going. It's beautiful when you hear the effects and the impact that Wu-Sabat is having on people, men and women, all around the world, different races. Phenomenal, absolutely. Could I please get a brief explanation on Amun-Ra and his role with the solar cycle? Tua. So that's In Search for Truth. Yeah, so we say the word Amun is very powerful because it actually means hidden or the hidden one. And if you read, as we say, Revelation 3:14, it explains to you that Amun was there from the beginning, and he's the one that witnessed the creation of God. And Amun is where, in all the religions, they praise him at the end of the prayers because it became Amen. So the Christians will say Amen at the end of their prayers. And that Amun, if you take that, the vowel, because you've got AM, the U is a vowel, right? So you change that to an E, it becomes Amen. And then in Islam, they say Ameen at the end of their prayers as well. And that relates to the same deity or being. Even in Judaism, the Hebrews say Omein, which is tied into that same being, Amun. When you're saying Ra, Ra was the name referred to the sun in ancient Egypt. So the different positions of the sun related to Ra, because Ra, the sun, is the life giver on the planet, because the sun sustains life on this planet. And the sun is a ball of energy that has a counterpart in what people will refer to as the spirit, let's say the spiritual realm. So the sun is really the manifestation of that power on the planet. So when you had the different positions of the sun, it was referred to as Amun-Ra, yeah? So you have the hidden part, which is the darkness, where the sun travels from Amun through that cycle. Although we know the sun doesn't really go up or down, it doesn't really, as they say, set and rise. But that period where it's supposedly traveling through the underworld, or there's shadow hours, then it comes back up, where people say the rising of the sun to Atum, and we say that Atum ray, and then it moves to the middle point, where people will say it's the height at the middle or the zenith, and they will say that is Atun. So this is the cycle, then it goes back to Amun, and this is where the sun became SON when it was grafted and drafted from ancient Egypt into the religious world. That's why the quote that Amun witnessed the creation of God, because God was the monotheistic rendition from the ancient Egyptian mystery schools. But then it became SON, and the Son of God walking the water and all of that. That is, when you look at the sun, it appears to walk across the sun, the water, you know, and this ties into the family in ancient Egypt, the royal family from Osiris, where the Greeks called Osiris, Isis, and their son Horus. This is where you get the word horizon. When you say Horus, Horus rising, you see, so they say horizon, and became, you know, Horus in terms of time as well, because the sun governs time. So you say that hours, when you say hours, you know, as in minutes, minutes is from Min, the day to Min, hours is from the day to Horus, and so on. But we've got a caller, so I'm going to interrupt quickly. Rahubat, caller, what's your name, where you calling from, and what's your question, please?
It's me again, Kareth Muir from Jamaica.
Greetings, brother, Rahubat. How are you doing today?
So my question is, the barothary gland that you're always talking about.
Yes.
Can you tell me all the benefits that it gives a human being when it's in the brain?
Yes, I can. It gives you all the hidden powers and abilities that you're completely unaware of at the moment, your higher hidden potential, because you can regrow that. It's when you say ba'a, you're dealing with the soul. So your soul is very powerful. And so when you have your barithry gland, which will be reinserted or regrown from by way of the submental, which is that area under your chin that connects with your mental, it allows your pineal gland to be fully functional, because that's where your connection to the higher realms and higher beings and your ability to start to use more of your brain, because most will tell you that you use less than 10% of your brain at the moment. So imagine the full capacity of you using the full capacity of your brain, how much you'll be able to do. They show you this in movies like Inception. If you haven't seen that movie, that's a good kind of way of seeing how sharp your brain will become, where you could do so much, you can literally do anything with your brain. And they show you that in that movie. So things like having your 4 higher senses, your telepathy, your clairvoyance, intuition, you have psychic abilities. There are many things you can do, but without that gland being activated, you're a limited being. Yeah, so if you want to learn more about that, you can read the scroll from the master teacher known as the Man from Planet Risk, or any of the new Outformation, Master Secrets, part of that, and actual facts. They go neuroscience, yeah, of wu-nuwapu. That's a great actual fact that will give you more details.
Okay, so also, I believe that there are different states of consciousness. So I want to know, is there a specific state of consciousness that a human being can enter into that makes us feel higher, more sharper, and more, and it also makes us feel more driven? It's like it gives us more willpower to live.
Yes, but we don't believe. We do the research so that we know, and that's what I was saying, that when you're saying conscious, you have different conscious levels. As you said, you got a subconscious, which most people are not even aware about, as in what it does and what it can do, because you have voluntary and involuntary actions, and your subconscious, your conscious, and you have superconscious as well. Now, how far you can tap into is based on your development, and you have higher realms to 9 levels, and each of those 9 actually are actually subdivided. So yeah, you have the mental realm, for example, where you're using or tapping into the mental realm and using more of your mind, and you have others all the way to 9 ether. So that's 9 ether is what we're being taught, how to use 9 obviously being the highest number, because once you get to 9, the rest of the numbers are compound numbers, where you have 10 is going to be 1 and 0, 11 is 1 and 1, 12, 1 and 2. So you don't really get anything higher than 9. And even when you continue that all the way, you get to what they will say 9 to the 9th power of 9, which they will say is infinity, meaning that it's so big that you can't even really compute it. But yeah, so you have the ability to reach the spiritual realms, the mental realm, the soul realm, all the way to 9 ether, as in fully able to use your abilities and be a pure energy being. That's referred to as an Etherian, an ether energy, or an ether being that's purely able to, if they want to by leave, come here and personify and go back and down in levels or degrees. You see, this is what people are referring to when they talk about places like heaven and so on and so forth, is the ability to travel to these different realms. But again, it's all dependent on your development, how you've, developed yourself mentally, spiritually, etc. Does that help?
Okay. Yes. One last question. So, in a lot of religions and spiritual beliefs, there's this thing called the aura. So they believe that, well, you don't deal with belief, but it is believed that human beings all have an aura. So is that a god? Would you call it a godlike energy that surrounds us?
Right, all these words like God-like and beliefs, and that's all based on not knowing. So what we're saying is it's a scientifically proven fact that you have energy around you, your electricity, you have, you have different parts to you that generate different energy. And these seats are what people are referring to as the different glands. And most spiritual teachers will teach you about them being seven. They refer to them in Eastern religions and practices as the chakras, right? And these are like, you know, along your what they call the spinal column. And the one that I mentioned before, you got the pineal gland, that, which is between the thalamus. You have like the pituitary. You have, the solar plexus. There are many, like, but the thing is, those Eastern religions can only go up to seven because they're not nine ether beings. We are nine ether beings, so we have another extra two that they don't know about, that the master teacher Parnabab Yanun has taught us. So we actually nine ether beings with nine levels as opposed to the seven. This is why even religions, they only teach you about the number 5, 6, and 7. And they make the seven, like all spiritual, the 7 days of creation, seven, the candelabra of the 7 candlesticks, seven, everything is 777 based as in the number 7. So we are 9, we deal with 9 and 9 ether. But yes, you can access or activate those glands to basically utilize more of your, what the people refer to as your spiritual being, or the higher parts of you, as opposed to just the physical. And again, you should be studying and reading and reading the scrolls by the master teacher, because you will learn more about your powers, the 9 ether, dealing with natural ether energy. Many books that he's already put out to help you evolve.
And you said we don't deal with belief. We know, so I respect that. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, most people can just Google or use the dictionary and look what the word belief means. You can, before even that, you can see the word lie in the word, and people still believe lies. So if you go and research what belief means, it means to ignore the facts or accept things that you cannot prove. So this is what religion does. You don't have to prove anything. You just have to have what they call blind faith. Just believe and follow as I say, and that's it. Then you're going to go to this unconfirmed promised place called heaven, where there's this being that they give you a description of him doing physical things, but he's in the spiritual place. So there's a lot of confusion. Or you're going to go to this other unconfirmed place called hell, where you're going to burn forever, which doesn't make sense either, because fire has to consume something. So we don't deal with belief, because belief is based on your opinions. Anyone can have an opinion, which is fine. They can believe in anything they want, but it doesn't mean it's fact or true. You see, so you can believe in Father Christmas, Easter bunnies, heavens and hells, unicorns. You can literally believe anything you want, and that causes confusion because it's not based on any evidence. You cannot substantiate what you're saying, but you just expect someone to not use their mind and just believe you because you say it is so. But we don't do that in Wu-Sabat. We challenge and we want to know. Because know is to have knowledge. That's why the first part of the word knowledge begins with know. You see, so they tell you knowledge is power. So what you have to do is make sure that what you know is fact. Make sense?
Yes.
Thank you for the call. And
all right,
speak
later.
to you again soon. Later. Wadu. Okay, let's keep going with the questions. Okay, we kind of covered Amun and the cycle. Why are there people in the world like the sun, and what's the problem with the people of the sun that other people don't like it, basically? I think, well, I guess it's because, like anything else, if something is harmful to you, you're not going to like it, right? So when you're saying people that, everyone likes the sun, it's just not everyone can withstand it to a certain degree, because people will go and lay out in the sun to get tanned and sunbathed and enjoy a good day, you know, in the park. Everybody likes the sun. But when the rays of the sun get so dangerous that they can burn and give you skin cancer, then you're not going to want to take that risk, right? So not everyone is going to like the sun to the same degree, but everyone can't live without the sun on this planet, on the surface of the planet. So yeah, and obviously us melanated people, or people with more, everyone has melanin, but we have more. That's why we are dark, and that's why we can produce more of it. So we don't mind the sun in that regard. And if you look at Africa, Africa's temperatures all year round, some places are, you know, very, very hot. Yeah, so it's kind of a bit of an obvious question, to be honest. Kevin, free Brother Malachi York and all political prisoners that's locked up here in the country of America. Yes, we agree with that. Free him. If the spell is up, why doesn't it feel... Okay, we covered that already. Oh no, it's the same question but in a different way. Well, we have to ask ourselves, if the spell is up, why doesn't it feel like it? Why does it feel like the same beings are having their way? I don't know. You have to be specific, because if you really look at what's happening in the world, on the world stage, it's not the same. Things are changing. Things are falling apart, and the same people are not in control. You know, so just you have to be more specific and do the research. But I would say, the quicker we spread Wu-Sabat, the quicker we apply it, the quicker we live it, you know, worldwide, the better things are going to be for us, and the conditions of the world are going to improve. Okay, someone's asking what's the number to call. We've already posted it. It's 07, well, let me go back. If you're outside the UK, the country code is +44, then 753 996 382. Let me repeat that again slowly. +44 753 996 382. All right, that's the number to call in and ask your questions. Energy never dies, and the soul is made of fire. So how can you burn in hell? Exactly, that's what we're saying about hell. See, what it is when you're under the spell of religion, or where you're spellbound by words that are made up of spellings, right? Years ago, when we were not in the information age and there wasn't so much technology and information and discoveries and uncoveries, right? It was easy to fool people. You could just say, you know, there's a place called heaven and God is there and this is where you're going to go when you die, and, you know, don't ask questions and just follow, and people would do it. And if you didn't, you're going to go and burn in a place called hell. All of these things, people don't fall for that anymore, because with technology, with information, you know, you can even ask ChatGPT and AI now, and they tell you the truth. So, yeah, it's a different day and time we're living in, because this day was meant to come, and it's known as the sun cycle. And yeah, it's all about truth now. Can I call upon Amun-Ra or Anu for guidance? Well, you can call on your ancestors. Amun is one of our ancestors. Anu is the title for a being that's in that position of the Sumerian deities, who, depending on when you say can I, it all depends on who is your ancestors, who are your family, and who is it that you're from. So this is why Europeans can call on their ancestors and have God or deities in their image and likeness. The same with the Chinese, the same with the Hindus, the same with other races. And we used to call on everybody else's races, every other race's deities. So now you can call on your own ancestors. Be yourself like everyone else, and you'll get a response, because if you're dialing the wrong telephone number, you're not going to get an answer. Flash 100%. Gratitude for Saken. Thank you for sharing the Master's teachings. Thank you, and it's all down to the Master Teacher, and thank you, and I want you and everyone else to do their best to free the Master Teacher and to represent his teachings in Wu-Sabat. Thank you. It's the backwards 9, the agreeable or the disagreeable forces when someone shows a 9 esoterically. I don't know what you mean by backwards 9. I'm trying to see. It'll be that way. No, it's like an E, isn't it? It'll be like an E. I don't know if that's what you mean backwards, or do you mean inverse? But no, 9 is a cycle. Okay, see, the thing is, when you're looking at the number 9, it's really a cycle, meaning that you start at a point and then you're circling or cycling outwards, because it's a continuous cycle. Life is a cycle, and 9 is the highest of that cycle. So when you start with the rotation, you have revolution and you have evolution, where you're evolving, you see. So the 9 is representative of that energy we've spoken about, the 9 ether, the highest spiritual forces. It's, when we say ether, 9 ether, we're talking about all existing gases that are conscious and conscience together. There's nothing more powerful than all the gases and, you know, combined. So there's nothing more powerful than 9 ether. And of course, you have lower vibrations or lower levels and in ether. And some beings can only get to the like 6 ether, 5 ether. They can't reach up to the 9 ether, you see. And so yeah, esoterically, 9 is the highest. I mean, work one small, that's, the question is very broad. Can you tell me anything about the spiritual part of existence? Yes, in the sense that you're dealing with densities and vibrations, right? So the faster things vibrate, the higher in terms of their density. When they slow down in vibration, they become more dense or more solid and more physical, and they move slower on the lower vibrations. So this is why things will go from being solid, if you're going that way, to liquid to gas. And if you're coming this way, you're going to go from gas to liquid to solid. So there are beings that exist in different realms which vibrate faster and are much more spiritual in terms of the frequencies. So if you look at your body, like, let's use a very simple example. If you took an egg, right? You got an egg, you got the shell, which will be the physical part, the bit you can touch. Then you'll have the white, and then you'll have the yellow, which we call the yolk. So for simplicity, I'm using that. The physical shell will be like your physical body. Then the white will be like your spiritual, and then the yellow will be like your soul. But those three have many layers or levels, you see. So the beings that exist on what you call the spiritual realm don't need to be physical, as in physical like this. There's different levels of physical, because even when you say, when we were talking about like the building blocks of life, like atoms, they exist. That's the most, prior to it being discovered, they were telling you that nothing existed after hydrogen. So the periodic table would quantify things based on what was discovered, and they would start at hydrogen and come this way to the now, you know, there are more than 99 elements now, but I'm saying like they discovered them and they just kept putting them on the table. But going beyond the hydrogen, there is existence or things that are still there, but they were not quantifiable, or they didn't have the apparatus or the machinery at the time to see beyond the atoms. But with people like CERN smashing atoms to subdivide them, this is the realm of what we call quantum physics, they were able to see that there were smaller particles. And today CERN are still trying to do that, where they're smashing atoms together and opening portals. You know, they've opened the northeast gate. What was that? And many beings are coming from these different dimensions. So yeah, so when you say the spiritual, you're just talking about a state or a realm above the physical one. So you got, like, when you look at, say, animals or fruits, they all have a spirit, but they don't have the higher vibrations of having a soul. So the apple, for example, will have the shell, the physical green or the red that you can see, but it has something that you can't see called nutrition, right? Nutrition is why you're eating the apple, to get that essence from the apple, but you can't see nutrition. It's the same with your physical body. So, I mean, it's a very broad question when you just say, can you tell me about the spiritual part of existence? Everything has spirit to be alive, because it also deals with the vibrations. So that's why animals have spirits, but they don't have a soul. Trees have spirits, rocks have spirits. And in religion, they confuse you because they say spirit and soul is the same thing, or one, but they have two different words for it. So it can't be the same thing. And when you start to go into the meaning of the breakdown of these two words, and of course, you have to go back to ancient times, into our Tamaraean, or our ancestors who were here first, what they refer to as spirit, which would be the ka'a. So you have your body, which is the khatat. You have your spirit, which is your ka'a. Then you have your soul, which will be the ba'a. Then you'll have the etheric counterpart, which is the akh. You see, so there are different levels, and that comes into, as I said before, into, you know, the religious books where you're saying nafas or nafish, depending on what language or nafs, when you're dealing with the spirit. Then you'll have ruah or ruach when you're dealing with the soul. See, different words, and they mean different things, dealing with your personality, your emotions, and then, you know, and so on, your etheric being. I gave you quite a bit there, just based on a very broad question of, can you tell me about the spirit part? Let's keep going. Dorinda, he skipped my question again this week. Is that we done already? You know, sometimes, yeah, I might miss a question. So, Nadum means sorry. I don't skip questions on purpose. You have covered that the descendants of Ham 9 ether. Thanks, brother. Learning my mistake. I misinterpreted. That makes much more sense. I have to learn. Okay, no problem. Yep. Lady of Truth. I wish I could wake up my husband, who is a Jehovah's Witness. You know what? You can. Just don't be impatient. Your example is key. You keep learning, keep growing, and he will notice the change in you. The change is natural, like your aura, your energy field will be different. And it's about your example. And you know what's funny about Jehovah's Witnesses, in the sense of the actual word Jehovah Witness? First of all, the word Jehovah doesn't really exist in Hebrew, because there are no J's or V's. So already that's a mistranslation. It's wrong. It would be a Y for the J and a W for the V. So you can't even make up the word Jehovah. It's a mistranslation. It's Yahuwah. But the word witness, a witness is normally someone, like, for example, if a crime took place, someone that witnessed the crime would then be a witness. If they were called to court or something to say, this took place, someone is accused, and we need a witness to either verify you know, whether the person is guilty or not guilty. So how can someone be a witness for Jehovah when Jehovah is supposed to be God, and who is he being judged by for you to be a witness on his behalf? I hope you guys are following what I'm saying. It's like the whole, like, first of all, before you get into the doctrine and into the back and forth, and you don't even need to argue with people, because it's like, would you argue with a deaf and dumb person? Like, not in a disrespectful way, but I'm just saying, like, if someone can't hear you, it will make no sense. So what you have to do is use the doctrine Wu-Sabat to help you develop, and in time they will recognize and feel the change. And we have to stop trying to, we don't really convert or badger people, you just live it, and your example will be the best thing. So yeah, any title, anyone who says like, I'm a Christian, you break down the word Christian, it won't even make sense. Like, that name didn't exist during the person you're calling Christ this time. He didn't know that name. It tells you we have found a Messiah who is being interpreted the Christ. So it's like, I found John, but we're calling him Michael. It's like, doesn't make sense. We can go on and on with all these denominations and these Christians and religious groups, and when you break it down, it doesn't make sense. And you've got a mind that was given to you by this higher being to decipher things. So yeah, we're just saying, like, we just keep it Wu-Sabat all the way, and then eventually they'll catch up. We've got a question. Oh, cool. Hey, Rahubat caller. Oh, it's Dorina. Hi, Rahubat. How you doing?
How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing my
I'm
best.
good.
Thank you. Good.
Am I too loud?
No, you're fine. What's your question?
Okay, so in regards to the video, I appreciate the War in Heaven video.
Mm-hmm.
I had two questions. I didn't catch who the Sakharu, who created the human devil race, who they are. That was the first question.
Sorry, can you repeat that? I didn't quite hear what you're saying.
The people who you call them Sakhara, the ones who created the human devil race, I didn't understand who they really were. That's the first question.
I'm just wondering if you're pronouncing it right.
I'm not.
S-A-K-H-U-R-A. Say that one more time.
S-A-K.
S-A-K.
H-U-R-A. They were the ones who created the human devil race, it said? What you were reading?
I'm going to try and find what. Yeah, we're going to try and find it. But ask your other question, and I'll see if I can come back.
Okay. Yeah, it was 49 through 53. I was referring to. So the other question was, it was mentioning about those who were left behind or will fade away because of certain circumstances. But my question is about the ones that's up to the age of 36, they had to change their bad habits before the matrix reads their death. And so I was just wondering, for those of us who are over the age of 36, coming to this knowledge and may have the diseases mentioned in that 53, would they have to just wait to the next lifetime to get it right? Or
yes, I mean those who don't make it this cycle, unfortunately, this is not gonna happen again. So a lot of people will just cease or dissipate. Yeah, that's why it's important to kind of like don't miss this opportunity. But I think I was there, which is here that we're talking about. Yeah, I've just found it, so I'm gonna just right. So this was talking about a past event. Yeah. So 49.
A past event. Okay.
Okay. So where did you want me to read from?
I think it was 49, but there's Sakara, where they created
No,
human devil.
you don't have it in front of you where you're referencing.
No, I don't. I didn't get
From
my
48,
book.
it just says that I may go from 47. Those who mixed with them would Lakuk receive their mark in their RNA and DNA and die off, right? And then 48 says those who did not would be given Khaled Anach, eternal life, and
Yes.
Ghayur, transform, change back to Achachi, which is the etheric, which I was saying before, Achak, Mukhwanu, etheric beings. And then 49 says, only those of you, Jaduba, attracted to their Dawi evil ways will be left behind. So, and then, do you want me to go on or should I carry on? Stop there.
The number 53.
Okay, 53. Let me carry on to 53 then. Those of you who lust, who lay with anyone, who overeat, oversleep, greed, those who live for their own wants, pa muzal the shadow persons. 51. You who desire to anuk, live as they live, sawuf will fade with them. 52. This was the sabab, reason for the tashkar, creation of a janan, human devil, salal race of disease and lust. And then 53, as AIDS and the other STDs, sexually transmitted diseases, khala'at diseases is for the lustful high blood pressure, and diabetes is for the gluttonous overeaters who has up to age 36. Okay, this is what you're talking about, to change their bad habits before their mamtat matrix reads their tamwaf death. Okay, mahak brain diseases for the head bangers due to lack of nawum sleep, loud masak music or majas at sound, bashar skin diseases from bleached man-made bara'at foods, drinks and intakes, and lung diseases for the smokers, katul killing lung tissue and brain cells, absorbing it right into their DNA within 9 seconds of intake. Right, so this is referring to the fact that everyone has, with right knowledge, right wisdom and right understanding, they can start to reason correctly, which is sound right reasoning. So people that are doing these things, they're actually judging themselves. You know, like, for example, those who are, they're eating unhealthily, they're actually aware that these days there's healthy alternatives, or that you shouldn't be eating things that are bad for you. Then you have those people who are, and that's people that are greedy, lustful. And lust is not always about, you know, just like sexual lust. You can lust after anything, food, shiny things, money, whatever. And then it's talking about those people that are greedy. And then it goes on to talk about when you're doing that, your matrix is being reprogrammed, and that's why you end up, you're literally causing your death by the diseases. People that go out and stay out in clubs late equals these headbangers due to the lack of sleep, because you have people that are out in clubs all hours of the morning, continuously listening to loud music. Music has vibrations and frequencies that are damaging, and just add sounds that affect you, you know. And then you get skin diseases, people that bleach their skin, you know, trying to be light, and the bad foods and stuff, that people that smoke, they're really damaging their lungs, and they will get diseases. So what he's saying is that these people are already actually, like, by their fate, F-A-T-E, they're doing things that means they're not going to make it. You know,
Okay,
that's
so
really
so if you're
about.
over 36, coming to this knowledge and changing your ways, you're not necessarily going to be left behind.
That's right.
Is that what you're saying?
That's
okay.
right. Everyone has the opportunity, and this is what even in religions that we're referring to, because everyone will have the opportunity. This is why we must spread Wu-Sabat to the point where everyone has the opportunity to know that, you know, they have an alternative to live and not to die.
Okay. And so can you help me understand who created the human devil race? I didn't understand that word, so I was trying to get a better understanding of who that is.
Right, that is what we refer to as the Adamites. And again, people misconstrue the word Adamites. It's not white people, it's not all Europeans, it's a specific graftation that took place 6,000 years ago, and the beings that created them were known as the Pleiadians, right? Their genetics were utilized to create these new hybrid beings called the Adamites, which religions pick up and they just tell you about a story of a one man called Adam being created. But when you read it, it says, created he them. So them is a plural. You see, so it was talking about this graftation of the Adamites who they had 6,000 years and their telomeres were programmed to fade away after 6,000 years. And that 6,000 years ended in the year 2000 AD. And they're the ones that have been causing most of the bloodshed and the wars and the chaos on the planet, which we refer to as Tashash. So it's them that are now being removed from the planet, and there's nothing they can do because this was by design, intelligent design, or plot of the
Thank
aliens.
you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for the clarity, because those two things, great. Thank you.
You're welcome. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay, how are we doing for time? Because I heard my alarm going off. Okay, we have about half an hour left still. So let's see what questions. Yeah, please remember, show us some love by pressing the buttons to like, to share, and subscribe, because we're almost at that 100,000K. So every little helps. And that's a good question. Sorry, I'm not jumping so people say I've skipped their questions. Let me just see if I can go back. Yeah, I stopped at a Lady of Truth. So we got Vuyi, Rahubat Wu-Sabat. Is there ritual to invite your ancestors into a new homestead that you had just built or purchased in South Africa? It's always done through an animal sacrifice. Your ancestors follow you wherever you go. They're everywhere, so you can connect with them. When I say everywhere, I mean that you're the link to them. So wherever you go, they will go. But we don't do any blood sacrifices or any animal sacrifices to our ancestors. You're saying it's done that way because that's through ignorance and them not knowing or following foreign practices that were introduced to them. Yeah, you can use rituals that we do, but these rituals are very wholesome and clean, and you can still connect and invite them without any of that sacrificing. Okay. Oh, we hit 100K likes, yeah? That's good.
Not 100K.
I mean, sorry, 100 likes. Go.
70 right now.
Okay. We nearly double it. So, yeah, let's try and hit 200. Or 100, I think it's 181, if I'm right.
30 to go.
30 to go, okay. Yeah, Lady of Truth, come and have a one-to-one.
Marquis just donated.
Thanks for the love, Marquise. My brother had children with a white woman. Does that mean my nieces are cursed? No, it doesn't. The amount of time we get this question, it's amazing. Why would your niece be cursed? They haven't done anything. You know, you can't choose. Well, you can. I was going to say you can't choose which parents you're born to, but you actually do. But no, they're not cursed. But they have the choice of, depending on how you bring them up, if you bring them up in Wu-Sabat and knowing about, their real essence and who they really are, then they should be leaning more towards that side as opposed to the other side, which is a bit weaker genetically. So, I hope that helps. All right, let's keep going. Okay, this was where I think I was. Nope. Wow, there's so many questions. I think I've skipped, or the system is skipped. Okay, here we go. I think I've caught up. Yeah, I've caught up. Okay, so the next question is from Gail.
You got another donation from Marquise.
Appreciate love, Marquise. Let's see, is there a different question?
Yeah.
Okay, that's the same one. What's the other one? I asked because I watched your video yesterday about the curse of leprosy. Yeah, anybody can get leprosy. It's just that okay, there are different forms of leprosies as well. If you go back and read Leviticus chapter 13, in fact, read the whole of Leviticus, you will see that it explains about leprosy, and yeah, some people have, they're referred to as clean lepers, and you have those who have the dangerous leprosy. And this is why, if you read the whole of Leviticus, it explains about the different forms of leprosy. And leproma, yeah, it's a disease that actually can harm you. Most will die of cancer very easily. But yeah, it doesn't change what I said on the video, because that is still the facts. But I'm just saying that it doesn't apply to every single person. Right, let me see. I've lost my. Go back. Okay, Daniel, I think, yes. Greetings from Oklahoma, USA. Who created the Native Americans? Right, we've covered this. The Native Americans are a mixture of the Olmecs, right, who are descendants of the original Africans that walked across over there. And then you have the Chinese that came and mixed with them to produce what you're calling Native Americans today. And then you had other mixtures as well. Once, like the Mayans, this is where you get the different, you got different Native Americans. You got you got South America and North America, etc. But yeah, that will be your answer. The Chinese mixing with the Olmecs produced your Native Americans. All right, and you can hear the word from America is from the Amirs, because you had a lot of people sailing over there as well. These what you call kind of like the Muslims, we were referred to as the Amirs, and then mixing with the Incas of South America, which is what I was saying before. Those Incas, you can hear Americans or Incans. Amir and Inca put together gave you the word America. Okay. Flash 100%. Are the Parnatharu on the planet Zlanthia, and is Zlanthia a planet located in the 19th galaxy in the Sirius star constellation? I haven't come across that, but our ancestors Parnatharu are like, they're everywhere, like in terms of the different, they travel and go to different planets and stuff. But I have to look into that name, Zlanthia. I can't say I've personally come across that being in the 19th galaxy in Sirius. I'll have to check that one and come back next week with an answer, because yeah, I'm not sure. Okay, next question. TC. I am a mixed race male. My father is African American, but my paternal haplogroup is RCTS241, maybe from slave trade. Am I still 9 ether? I think I've answered that question so many times. Okay, it depends. Right, when we say ether, right, the highest is 9 ether, and you have different in terms of like, you got ethers in terms of your hair, you got ether in terms of gases, like I said before. All gases, conscious gases and conscience gases combined make up 9 ether. Then you have different variations and levels of 9 ether. So we might be talking about the most potent. It's going to be 9 ether here, 9 ether in terms of your composition by your DNA. And yeah, so it all depends on, are we talking about your hair, are we talking about your complexion, are we talking about your mentality? There are different aspects that make you 9 ether. So you can be 9 ether, 8 ether, 7 ether, 6 ether here, 5 ether, 4 going down in terms of the potency. So it all depends on what you're also doing to activate your genes or genetics. All right. Rahul, where is the 144,000 appear from? Rahul, where is the 144,000 appear from? I don't understand what you mean appear from. You're dealing with 144,000 pure souls on the planet who study and resonate with Wu-Sabat and put it into practice. And you will have those that are being raised and groomed by Pana Babyanun and Wu-Sabat. No one can say I'm 100% going to be one of the 144,000 because you don't know. The 144 again ties into the number 9 because you add in the 1 + 4 + 4, you get 9, which deals with the characteristics of 9 ether being, and those was the 9 mind put in Wu-Sabat and 9 ether into practice. So there are allegorical meanings, symbolic meanings, actual meanings, and real things that tie into the number 9. Let's keep going. Daviri Greenwood. Yes, I would definitely like to collaborate of doing videos and films with OSM Vision. Okay. We always welcome everyone.
19 likes to 200.
What does that mean?
19 likes to 200 likes.
Well, the thing about us, we've been very transparent. We're very open because you get people in the comments that just hate or just talk about Wu-Sabat or maybe the teachers, myself. And we say, come, let's have a conversation. And then they, all of a sudden, they don't show up or they don't want to come. So you have people that just, they're just trolls and just people on social media. Social media can be very fake, very fictitious. And then you have real people. So, yeah, we would like to, definitely collaborate. Are the Parnathara also located? Okay, someone asked that question already. Can I ask, if you can answer, where you're getting that information from about that planet being in the 19th galaxy? Because I'd have to, follow that reference and have a look and see. But I will definitely check into that. Meshu Love, greetings. How to decalcify the pineal gland? That's a good question because you have things like fluoride that they're very damaging and they're part of, basically why so stop taking in fluoride, eat well as best as you can. We have a lot of information, but literally putting the practices of Wu-Sabat into real life, implementing that in your life will help you. But it's all about, like the meditation, the relaxation, the eating healthily, the mindfulness, the ashuk, all these things you hear us talking about that will help you. Obviously the water, because they do put fluoride in a lot of the water, so is Enlil the main enemy? This is from Crown. Questions that are very broad. Well, you have to say whose enemy, number one. When you say the main enemy, well, Enlil he's about a lot of the disagreeable. But remember that his son is Nana, and he's the one that a lot of people pay an allegiance to and work for on the planet. The people that are causing chaos and havoc and bringing a lot of dismay to the planet. So when you say enemy, in that sense, you could say yes. Wow, 1 year officially on YouTube. Shout out to you, my brother. Appreciate love. Yeah, appreciate love you too. Yeah, we're gonna do, like we say, hitting that 100K subscribers, and we're gonna do a lot to celebrate our anniversaries. And oh, let's have a look. Yeah, it doesn't have the names though, does it?
Yeah, but I didn't see the one that they said.
Yeah, I didn't think so, because that name would have rang a bell. So unless somebody's calling another, you've got different names for the same planet. So unless that's what they're doing, it's not in the galaxy. I'm looking at the galaxy of Ilion now, and I don't see it. So, but like I said, I will definitely look into it. If you can give us a reference from where you're getting that from, it might be another Greek rendition or some other name being used for the same. It's like, Uranus is Anu. So I'm trying to remember, because you had different names for the planet, like I'm trying to remember the names. The Sumerian names for them, like Kisha, Ansha, but they'll have different names. So I don't want to guess. So let me wait till I do some research, and if you can give us any pointers of where you got that information from, we can look into it. Is it important to put? Oh, thanks. I didn't give the shout out to Mitchie Jones for that comment. Thank you, about reaching our 1 year. Yeah, we're consistent. Right, let's go to the next question. Wait, let me do this one first. Is it important to put the pictures of my ancestors in my house? Yes, absolutely. Why not? Yeah, that's definitely, you can. Islam tried to tell you about not putting pictures in your house because the angels won't come to your house and all these type of hadiths. But yet, they have pictures. So that was to cut you off from your ancestors. So there's nothing wrong with you having pictures of your ancestors. All right, go on.
If you are male Negroid and have children with another race, will this be detrimental to the male, and in what ways? Also, will it be not able to make it with eternal life? Thanks.
No, but it will definitely affect your DNA because you're exchanging bodily fluids and you're taking on the DNA of the person you're mixed in with and their ancestors as well. So, all you said is if you had children with them, but obviously I don't know if you're saying if you're with them still, and of course if you're with them, then you are losing to them because they've taken a part of you. It's like you hear that term, you can't date downwards, you go date upwards. So it's like it's more potent to go with the equal vibration and frequency. There's a part of that we got called soulmates that goes into a lot of detail about what happens when you're sharing DNA and mixing bodily fluids, with different people in general, but much more so in terms of with beings that are incompatible or lower than you. So yes, you definitely do have, there is an impact. But of course, we say all the time, who people choose to be with or take on as spouses, partners, that's their business. We don't really Like, if you're already in a situation, you're in that situation and you've got to make the most of it. Obviously, there are consequences that come with mixing. You just can't what's the word? Frivolously mix with any and anyone, because you're going to take in those DNA and genetics that will affect your being and can, yes, have a detrimental effect on you in terms of your development. But making it, it's not down to me to say. You know, the Natharu, they make those decisions in terms of who makes it and who doesn't make it. LA Storyteller, appreciate, love your donation. Freedom Master Teacher Dr. Malachi Z. York, absolutely. We want the master free. We want the whole world to know, and just share the videos and make sure people get to know who the man of the hour really is. I don't know if it's me, but since we came on the scene, it's like the conscious community has gone quiet, because it's all about where did they get the information from. The source of the information is Partner Babyanun, and many weren't giving him his due respect. And then we just came to let everyone know, look, these people, they're telling you information, but they're not giving the, they're not giving the respect where it's due, and they're not even mentioning him. You know, I don't want to name any names. You all know who I'm talking about, but we had to put him back in the proper place as the man of the hour. Hour being from 1970 to the year 2000. That's the first half hour. The second half hour from the year 2000 to 2030. He's the man of the hour. All right. So yeah, we're glad that people are now starting to recognize and realize where the source of the information is coming from. So yes, thanks for that, LA Storyteller, Horus Ra. Appreciate love. Wow, we're almost out of time. We've got 15 minutes left. Tawul Tat. Yeah, you guys have to make, I can see you people trying to cut corners and like spell the Wu-Sabat words in your own way. And this is what we all do. We get lazy. Like, learn the language properly. And join our language groups. First join the Telegram group, and then we put all the links to the language classes and everything. So yeah, Tawul Tats again, OSM Vision. I appreciate, love the work. And I see you're spelling Ashuk wrong as well, but it's all good. We're all learning. Ashuk, you show the world. Yes. Thank you. Yep, there you go. The Telegram group, the link's there again in the comment section, in the chat, so you can, we've covered every question, so I'm going to double back and go to the top and just make sure we haven't missed anyone out. But if you still have a question or you still want to call in, we've still got about 12 minutes left of this live, so you can still call in. All right. Oh, I'm teaching class this Saturday as well, so tune into that. We always post the links to the classes in the Telegram group, and we have an event this Sunday for those in the local jurisdiction. On Sunday, you can come along. There'll be, because it's always good to mingle and gather and break bread, get to know people, get to know more about the culture. There'll be music, food, healthy stuff, and yeah, just good atmosphere. You got any more questions there that I've missed? All right, go on then. Let's see. Oh, there's one here. What's the difference between the Natharu and the Anunnaki? All right, the simplest way to explain it is that the Anunnaki, it's an event that took place where Anu sent beings to this planet, known as Ki at the time, in groups of 50, which is what Na stands for. And it's because Na in the Sumerian language, yeah? So it's describing an event. Anu is a title held by the being that is in control, like prime minister, like president. So when we say Anunnaki, we're talking about a group of beings that came to the planet Ki. The Natharu are the beings that are the highest beings, which relate to nature as Natiru, and they're the ones that were here first, that came to this planet first, and seeded life on this planet. Rahubat, Kenya. Kenyan.
Rahubat.
Rahubat.
Yes. Rahubat Saken.
Rahubat, how you doing? What's your question?
I'm doing okay. Yeah, so mine today is not like a question, but I wanted to highlight like the two main things I've been learning since I joined, because I've been watching the video since day one.
Okay. Wow, that's
so
good.
So the first one is like mostly I was going so hard before I met before I began to follow Wu-Sabat. I was so hard on myself.
Yeah.
Like the way, and since I started watching, I understood the part of balance. And also I came to know like I'm on the right path since the day you said like people start with going to, after getting rid of religion, most people go to the east. So that's where I was before I found Wu-Sabat.
Okay. That's
so like, yes, those were like my main 2 points I wanted to bring home. And also the last video I made a phone call. Some of my Kenyan friends commented, and I would like them maybe to comment again, and we see like we can make a family from here.
absolutely. But that's good what you said in terms of, you know, because most people, especially those of, you know, African descent, they know about Christianity, you know, they've come to that point of realizing that, you know, it was dealing with the subjugation and, you know, the racism and the slave trade. And then they also find out that the Islamic world or the Muslims kind of did the same. So those religions, they're quickly to kind of move away from. But when they do, they start looking into the East, you know, like you said, Buddhism, because, you know, that deals with more of like peace and universal kind of teachings, and in Hinduism as well. But that's because they didn't realize that Wu-Sabat existed. So when they find Wu-Sabat and know about Nine Ether, it's an easy transition, because you have your own, just like every other race has as well. And every race shares theirs with the world, and Wu-Sabat shares Wu-Sabat with the world as well. So it's not a racist thing, it's not limited, but you now have, you know, your home basically. That's what I'm trying to say. So that's good. And the balance aspect is good as well, because people are not like pointing the finger at everyone else or expecting someone else to do everything for them. The balance is like, you can't be good all the time. You're not a bad person. You just gotta be balanced in terms of what you're calling good and bad, which is really agreeable and disagreeable. So I'm glad those two things have helped you, and people listening, hopefully, you know, we don't really deal with hope, but yeah, they will see this and then not be afraid to take the step. But your example will also be key to helping them, you know, transition to Wu-Sabat, which deals with right knowledge, right wisdom, and the right understanding. All right, so we appreciate of your call, and yeah, until the next time, Tawat Wadu.
What? Wadu.
Okay, last few minutes.
A couple at the bottom.
Okay.
Does stuttering only occur when speaking English?
No, but that is actually a situation where you're trying to, your brain and your mouth are not actually in sync, so you're thinking faster than you can speak, and it's something that you can actually control, because people get trained on how to control it. You know, they're actually television personalities and people who speak and you wouldn't know that they stutter. But again, it also depends on how bad it is. But it's not based on the language as such. It's based on the processing of you thinking and then that signal from the mind, from the brain, actually then coming out your mouth. So yeah, it's good relaxation and the ability to like take your time and slow down your, this is where meditation and these types of things help as well. Another thing that happens when you speak different languages, it sometimes, it's like your mind is thinking in one language, and then when you go to speak, the words kind of get collided and mixed up. I do that a lot. And sometimes that's what I'm like, I'll say a word and I'll be like, that it doesn't quite sound right. So people that are linguists will find that your brain, it's good to learn many languages if you can, if you're not like born speaking those languages. It's also a good thing because it trains your mind and helps you to develop, you know. So most people that speak more than one language are actually quite intelligent in terms of utilizing their mind. So, oh yeah, I saw this question, I didn't get a chance to answer it. Can someone practicing Wu-Sabat contest for political position? We actually have an, wu-nuwapu that is running in America somewhere, but we don't really, the master teacher teaches us, and we don't really get involved with the politics as much because we realize the game in terms of it's really politics, because politicians basically promise the people what they want, but then when they get in office they do something else and don't do what they were voted in for. And we've seen this game over and over again. So of course, to change our conditions, we would vote for the person that's going to be, you know, giving us what we want. So it's all about the policies and a collective vote, because I think you have more bargaining power when you actually have a lot of votes, that you will show that if we give you these votes, it's going to make a difference to you, and in return, we would like you to deliver on these policies. And that's how it's supposed to be done. So if we did have somebody, then it would be good to support them, because if they're going to give us what we want until we're no longer in a need to be even involved in that system and world, then yeah, because really we focus on like our stuff and let them do what they do, because it's not been fair anyway from the beginning. If you look at even fighting to get votes, and even the fact that most people's votes don't really count, even though they say every vote counts, because you have higher powers that they meet, they make decisions, and they choose who they want to be in position way before the actual elections. I mean, why is it that people say things like, even like the cartoon, The Simpsons, are able to predict people being in power before any politics or any contest has been run? You have to think, things that make you go, Okay, so yeah. Politics is a trick. Oh, so I've got the information I received about Zelanthe was sourced from Rashad Jamal and Thomas C. Stone, who wrote a book based on the location. Okay, yeah, I'm aware of these people, but again, like we said, we deal with Wu-Sabat and Pan the Babyanon, and those people who put out information, they have to be questioned on that information and where they got it from, and let them explain it. Because we get a lot of times people come to us to explain other people's information they just throw out into the world, but don't make themselves available for scrutinization, so people can actually get to the bottom of it and realize whether or not it's true or belief. Okay, I think that's it. We've come to the end. Yeah, you all didn't even ask about Asaru today. That's kind of, well, he's traveling again, as you all know. He's a traveling man. Okay, cool. I think that's it. I think, unless you can see anything I missed out. So we want to say Tawukum. Thank you all. And, remember to support everything we're doing, because the more you support us, the more you help us, the more we can help you, and all of us collectively can help free Pana Babylon, right? So join the Telegram group if you haven't already done so. Let other people know, share it with your family, with your friends, because you know you have a responsibility as well. Once you can't unlearn or unknow Wu-Sabat once you know it, so you know you have to do your part for your salvation as well. All right, so until next week, same time, same place, I'm Saken signing out of our Souls Matter OSM Vision. Wadu.